Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Metal video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the Feelin the Heat Transcendent Dokkan login bonus as part of the Transcendent. No, I'm kidding. Taking a look at the Transcendent Heat Dokkan campaign. This is the upcoming Tanabata campaign. It is a revamped version of this campaign. It's basically the thank you campaign. So we've had the anniversary, we have WWC, these are the two biggest events, and then the Tanabata is kind of like a thank you to players for the year. It's a hype slash good unit, and generally speaking is a big celebration. We take a look at everything they've announced, briefly going through the events and the changes, because that's not what people are super interested in, talk a little bit about the unit, which people are always interested in, and then cover a little bit more. So we have the login bonus. This will give you some Kais, Link Stones, Dragon Stones, etc. We then have a revamped Porunga Wish campaign. Instead of 9 wishes, we can get 15 wishes. Whether there'll be 5 sets, well it says here 5 sets of 3 wishes, which is amazing. So you can get 15 wishes. We'll have to see how good those wishes are. Last year, I believe they let you wish for a unit from the celebration. We'll have to see how it works this year. Then obviously we have the Ultimate Red Zone, the Pure Sands edition. Very straightforward. It's an Ultimate Red Zone against Pure Sands. You'll be able to pick up some big Dragon Stones. They say up to 50 from mission rewards. That'll be interesting. Then we have 2 new stages. Stage 5 for the Seriously Serious event and Stage 9 for the Intensifying Fights event. I assume we'll also probably get things like burst modes, etc. during the course of the event. A new mission will be added to the Festival of Battles, which is pain, having to redo this event with another team. Just painful, really. But hey, yeah, new mission, hopefully a lot of stones. Didn't really mention how many. Then we take a look at the new unit, Golden Frieza and Gogeta. All in all, before I begin, I like the concept of this unit a lot. It's a Dokkan original unit. It's an interesting concept because obviously it's Frieza tanking for Gogeta technically while fighting Broly. So it's an interesting concept. I must say, and I'm not going through the animations here, I must say the animations are a little bit mixed bag for me. I think there's some good moments and some bad moments, but I think the design of the characters and the concept is very cool. So I do hope it does well because I do think it's cool to have this kind of unit that can lead an extreme team, a super team, be able to switch between them. Like, I like the Goku Frieza that we had, and so I think it's pretty cool. Lots of categories. I'm not going to go through all of them, but a ton of categories because it's counting for both units. So you've got Target, Goku, Terrifying, Conquest, but you also have Fuse Fighters, Accelerate Battle. So you've got, plenty of categories. In terms of leader skill, movie bosses or movie heroes, that's great. 50% coverage for Transformation Boost, Gifted Warriors, or Inhuman Deeds is also quite solid because it gives you pretty much coverage for almost everything under those 2 categories. Okay, Movie Heroes, Transformation Boost, that's a lot of units. Gifted Warriors, that's a lot of units. Inhuman Deeds, that covers a lot of movie bosses, your Broly's, etc. They all now have a true 250% lead, and also obviously that covers your Lord Slugs, etc. And Transformation Boost also covers those units as well. Frieza, side of the Gogeta Frieza. Frieza greatly raises attack on his 12 key, lowers attack and defense, greatly raises attack for 1 turn, lowers attack and defense, and raises ally attack by 50%. Very interesting. In terms of passive, we have attack and defense of 250%, an additional 2 key per key series obtained, and damage reduction of 70%. For the first 5 turns, you have guard all attacks, and then starting from the 6th turn, a great chance of guarding, which is still pretty good. To cut a long story short, that puts him up into the Giant Ape Vegeta plus 10% support from SS4 Goku kind of category, because with guard makes him very tanky. When 4 more extreme class allies on the team, or when there's another movie heroes or movie bosses category ally in the same turn, which is important because it helps them work on a multilateral team, he launches an additional super, and then for every attack received, attack of 150% and chance to perform a critical hit 10% within the turn. So this is pretty insane if you think about it. It's like he's basically Beast Gohan but on steroids. So if you want to compare how or what he does as a function, he works exactly the same as Beast Gohan. He has guard temporarily at the beginning of the fight. He has high damage reduction. In this case, he doesn't have two different instances. He just has one flat high instance. And he gains attack based on how many times he's hit. So if you remember Beast Gohan, how he used to scale of getting hit, Frieza does the same. And quite significantly. Whenever guard is activated, his defense goes up. That will help to compensate a bit for the loss of guard. And then when 3 or more super attack class allies are on the team, or from the 5th turn, he will randomly change key spheres and then also have the ability to turn into Gogeta. I think what's important to understand is that Frieza and Gogeta can both exist on the same team. You can switch between them freely, but they are actually fundamentally meant to run on different teams. I think a lot of people won't realize this at first, but Frieza is meant to be a movie boss's component who is going to help Broly's, who's going to help the Golden Frieza that we'll talk about just now, probably a banner unit, probably a future SEZA, all kind of come together. And Gogeta is going to be a movie heroes version of that. Gogeta raises attack and defense 1 turn, massively raises attack and defense 1 turn, and raises allies defense by 50% for 1 turn. Very important. Gogeta is very, very, very good, but an evasion variation of a tank. So perform a reversible exchange, key +6, attack and defense 250%, receives an additional key +1 per key sphere, attacks effective against all types, high chance of evasion. With a key sphere obtained, fully recovers HP. That's very crazy, but it's only 1 turn, but still pretty cool. When 3 or more superclass allies are on the team, or when there's another movie heroes or movie boss category ally attacking the same turn, 40% damage reduction. When attacking with 20 or more key, great chance of crit, 200% attack and defense. When activating the active skill, or when attacking with 24 key, 150% attack and performs a guarantee critical hit. For every key sphere obtained, chance of evading 5% up, attack 10% up, and all allies defense up 10% when attacking. And for every 5 key spheres obtained, launch an additional super attack. What's very, very important here is that Gogeta is an evasion version of a tank. So if Gogeta gets 4 orbs, he has 70% evasion. Gets 6 orbs, he has 80% evasion, etc., etc. He also has that 40% damage reduction, which is great. Helps to take the sting off of any normals he gets hit with. But obviously his primary mechanic for surviving super attacks is going to be evasion, which is fine. Evasion is valid in a lot of events now. And yeah, I think overall it looks pretty good. Definitely I like the 10% support per key sphere as well. Means you can have some pretty crazy defense boost. If you think about that, imagine Gogeta picks up 10 int key spheres, for example. That's a 100% defensive boost for your rotation, which is really nuts. And then for every 5 key spheres obtained, he launches an additional super, which if you remember will greatly raise his attack and defense. So Gogeta is very good. And Frieza, I think, is very good. I genuinely think both are excellent. Exactly what their teams need. Movie bosses needs a flatline tank. Broly and Broly from the last WWC are both still really, really great, but they're not good enough to be flatline tanks. They both need their defense on super now. And Gogeta helps movie bosses, because movie bosses is an evasion-centric team. Having double Gogeta, essentially, well, Frieza and then obviously Gogeta helps a ton, because you have now an evasion-centric tank, allowing everyone else to kind of sit in their favorite second, third slots, which is important. Golden Frieza's active as a taunt, 400% defense because it's a taunt. He pulls all the attacks in, gets a big key. That's awesome. It'll boost his defense. It'll also boost his attack hugely. He'll be able to absolutely crush the enemy. The reason it's so high is because you can activate it when he doesn't have guard. Remember, if it was only like 200%, but he doesn't have guard, he may actually still take damage. So 400% seems high, but it's because it can be activated when he doesn't have guard. And then Gogeta is very similar. Huge boost to his attack. Also, huge boost to his defense. And changes all key spheres to tech key spheres. This is important because it gives him a huge defensive boost. You might think, why is it giving him a huge defensive boost and then making all key spheres tech key spheres? Because surely if he picks up all tech key spheres, he'd have evasion guaranteed. It's so that you can use him in events where evasion is disabled, and he will still be able to hold his own against normals. So that's why he has the huge defensive boost. Imagine picking up all those key spheres, by the way, 230% defensive boost. That's pretty nuts for the rest of the rotation. So all in all, before we talk about Golden Frieza, I think, all in all, I think they're great. Like I mentioned before, the animations, a bit average, but I think they personally are very, very good. Golden Frieza is the first EZA. There will definitely be more EZAs. So everyone going, oh, where's the SEC? There will definitely be a Super EZA, and there will probably be 2 TUR EZAs as well. I will imagine that both Physical Broly and AGL Gogeta will probably get Super EZAs. That's my guess, because it makes perfect sense for both teams. And I also has the guess that there will be another EZA at the very minimum for some kind of movie heroes unit, definitely. Frieza's EZA looks very, very good. Obviously, Planetary Destruction Resurrected Warriors lead goes up to 170%. Frieza then greatly raises attack and raises defense for 1 turn. It's very important for him to help his attack scale. And then obviously on his 12 key, attack for 1 turn and then lowers attack and defense, which is great. Frieza Guards will attack for 1 turn, defense of 100% for 3 turns. Chance of performing a crit and damage reduction 90%, scaling downwards every 2 turns passed, no more than 60%. What's very important here is that change. So his damage reduction technically works the same, right? Before he had 90% damage reduction, but it scaled down 10% every turn. What that meant is by the second time you had Frieza out, his damage reduction was already 70%. This is not the case anymore. Every time Frieza comes out, his damage reduction will go down. Not only does this double the length of time that he is really tanky for, because if you think about it, he'll go 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, etc. It just doubles the length and makes him scale way better. It also gives him more time to kind of build into the rest of his kit, which does require a bit of time. Basic effects, key +6, attack and defense 200%. When HP is 50% or more, attack and defense 200%, launch an additional super. For every super attack performed, defense up. For every attack received, defense up. Starting from the 3rd turn, attack up and performs a crit when HP is a certain threshold. Starting from the 5th turn, attack up and defense up when the 2nd or 3rd attacker. Starting from the 7th turn, attack and defense up when is the 3rd attacker. So, like I said, him just building up that attack and defense, building up that flexibility as a unit while his damage reduction is decreasing a lot slower. Very, very good. And then last to mention, a couple things. So the web store from the 28th at 4 p.m. PST, which is for me on the 29th at 2 a.m. We'll have a 10 Dragonstones free on the web store, so make sure you link there. I will do a video on it when it comes out. And they mentioned some other things like a new battle system. They specifically mean that for new content, so they won't be revamping the whole battle system for the entire game. They will just be looking at new specific content that uses a new battle system, like maybe a chain battle or something. Very, very interesting. We'll have to take a look. And yeah, basically that's pretty much it from me. All in all, thank you guys very much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.